Joining us now, she's in her third season as the Michigan staff and the assistant coach. Of course, she just got honored recently, got inducted into the Michigan Hall of Honor. She's now one of the greats of all time to wear those colors, and of course, Michigan players, and of course, a friend of the show. She's an Olympian. She's done it all, two-time All-American. The resume goes on and on. Amanda Chidester joining us here on In the Circle D1 Softball. Congrats, Hall of Honor. When I mention those words, what comes to your mind now that you've been officially inducted?
Honestly, it's an honor. I mean, again, to be amongst all the greats and to be represented amongst all of them and continue to represent Michigan at the highest level. Like, I mean, it's hard to put into words, but I know that I wouldn't be where I am today without my family, without the coaching staff. I mean, just thinking back to all my years of training for the Olympics and them welcome me. I mean, Michigan welcoming me every step of the way. Anytime I needed a place to work out, to train, like they let me back in open arms. So it's a family effort, and Michigan is family, and yeah, it's amazing.
Take me back to when you got the call about you were going to get inducted. How did that kind of play out? And then just take us through the ceremony itself.
Yeah, I was out taking my dog for a walk, and I get this Ann Arbor number call. And honestly, like I was the oil change place kept calling me to confirm my appointment. So I was thinking it was them. So I answer it and I'm just like, "Hello." And I hear, "Chitty, it's Ward Manuel." And I was like, "Oh, hi." Like he has never called me before. So it totally took me aback. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like why is he calling me?" Never in my mind was it anything about like the Hall of Honor or anything like that. But he said he's like, I want to be you to be the first call and congratulate you on a, great career, and you'll be inducted into the Hall of Honor this year. And and he went on, and I was just like, wow. Like to me that was just I can't believe it was already happening. Like things just, I don't know. It just in the last couple years, I think everything from my career just keeps unfolding. And it's just, I mean, all that work that you put in that, I love the process. I love putting in the work every single day and not even thinking about all the things that will come after. And it's been amazing.
So you never thought about being inducted into the Hall of Honor? That never crossed your mind?
No, I mean, like the years prior, there was a couple softball people that got inducted as far as like I think even like the state of Michigan. There was a few different things. And I had that summer got inducted into the Allen Park Hall of Fame. And so I said to my parents that summer, I was like, well, when I get inducted to the University of Michigan and the State of Michigan Hall of Fame, then I'll feel like, okay. And so I mean, I didn't even think anything of it, thinking that it would be anytime soon. I mean, I was one of the youngest ones on that list this year, and yeah, it never crossed my mind.
We're a little biased. We feel you're the headliner of the Hall of Honor class this year, but you obviously weren't alone getting inducted. You got some great other Michigan athletes from
Mhm.
other sports. What was it like to be inducted with some of the other great athletes there? You were honored the weekend of the football game against Oregon. You were honored at the Oregon football game. There was a ceremony, I believe, the night before. What's it like to be basically around other great Michigan athletes?
Yeah. I mean, that's what Michigan represents, right? Leaders and best. And to be in that room and to hear everyone's stories being so similar of what the Michigan tradition and what Michigan develops people into. And it's great leaders. And to, the team. And everyone spoke those same words of being so proud to represent something bigger than yourself. And it's just amazing that the Michigan culture across the board is just so strong. And, when you're there and even when you're coaching, like that message is being sent, and for people to hold on to that and use that for the rest of their lives is pretty remarkable. So with that, like that was awesome hearing everyone's stories, so similar and all that it took, while they're at Michigan and then after Michigan. And then on the field, that was unreal because I mean, you're in front of 100,000 people. I had text messages from people that I hadn't seen or heard from in a while and said that they saw me at the football game and on the field and congrats. And the girls were all at the game and they said that they were cheering so loud. But when you're out there, I mean, it's just like all those people are cheering for you. And it was just like, wow, that was a really cool moment.
Is that the first time you've been on the football field honored like that?
Personally, yes. I mean, I've been on there several times for the Big Ten championships and with teams, being out there, but not as like my personal name being announced out on the field. That was really cool.
Yeah, they put your name right, video on the jumbotron. Oh, that's
Yeah.
gotta be pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
Describe the
awesome.
ceremony itself, because like I said, it's the Hall of Honor.
Mhm.
Uh, so describe that ceremony and what's it like to be a part of that ceremony. I don't know if you've ever gone before prior to this year. You probably haven't. Who knows? But like, what's it like to be part of that ceremony with probably other greats, not just from this year's class, but from past?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, it was a black tie optional event, so it was very fancy. Everyone's all dressed up. It was in Chrysler Center, so they had it all down on the court and beautiful setup. It was the whole thing. They had a cocktail hour, which that was pretty awesome, being able to like mingle with different people for the hour and my family getting to be there and for my family to experience all that and represent that. Even my little nephew, he's going to be 6 and he just took it all in. He loves Michigan. So for, him to be there, for my wife to be there to see all of it, it was great. They had Michigan everywhere, the Michigan colors everywhere, the block M's everywhere. And everyone's walking around with so much pride being in that room that they represent the University of Michigan. And I mean, that's really how I can describe it is that I mean, when I was in Michigan, when I was at Michigan, again, I appreciated it. I loved being there. But honestly, it took me leaving the university and, experiencing different universities, experiencing different players from different universities and hearing what they said about their experiences. And then coming back to coach, like I feel like that's when it really hit home um how how much pride I have in the University of Michigan in representing the University of Michigan. Like it meant so much more to me coming back and seeing what Michigan represents. And I mean, that's what that induction was, is just how, when people leave, they're still bleeding the maize and blue. And then when you all come together, like you can feel that energy in the room of how like the alumni, everyone in that room is somehow affiliated with University of Michigan, and everyone just all like wearing the Block M pins and just like wearing the colors and just loving it so much. And it's like, wow, like to be a part of something so special is just fulfilling in your life, to represent something like that. And I mean, that's forever going to be with me. And that's the cool part is that everyone who leaves Michigan carries the University of Michigan with them everywhere they go. I mean, when you walk somewhere and someone sees a black M, they're going to say go blue. The alumni base for Michigan is the biggest in the country, and that's saying so much.
Who was the first Michigan person you called when you got word you were going to get inducted? Either a teammate, could have was a coach. Who was the first person you reached out to?
Honestly, I told my family and I told my wife. I didn't really tell anyone because I was just like, I didn't know how
Is
to
that one of
say
those they hold you to secrecy? Do you have to hold it on
no.
for? Okay,
Well, they told you like not to like put it out anywhere on social
sure.
media, to wait till it was announced. Um, and I told my best friend, I think, but I didn't really, I don't know. I guess I'm one of those people that I don't really know how to express that. It's like, okay, well, they'll find out when they find out, and I can just leave it at that. So, um, I mean, eventually Hutch and Bonnie found out, so they called me and talked to me about it. So.
They have connections. I'm sure they found ways to connect there. I remember when I had Jenny Ritter on. She said it was like emotional because it was almost like a final chapter closure to your playing career in a lot of ways. A lot of memories get brought back up. For her, it was at least anyway. Of course, she's been on and honored everywhere in the state. Was that similar to you? Did that feel that way to you?
Honestly, no, not at all. For me, it felt like the beginning of something better. And just watching myself up there because they play a whole like highlight reel of you in college. And I mean, for me, like I played 11 years after college. And so I had so many like experiences after Michigan and um but I look up when I looked up there, I was like, dang, like because I mean, honestly, I think one of the questions were at the Hall of Honor, they asked me like when I was an All-American my freshman year, like how did that, I don't know, guide you for the rest of your career, blah blah blah. And at the time, like I didn't even realize how big of a deal that was, like at all. Because for me, it's always setting my goals. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to go to the University of Michigan. When I got offered to go to the University of Michigan, I wanted to start at the University of Michigan my freshman year. And once I started, it's like I want to do this. I want to do this. It was always something next. And like I would just keep working and it was just another thing, right? And then now coaching, it's like, whoa, like I did that. Like I didn't realize how maybe difficult it is or how rare it is. Like to me, it was just like I'm like tunnel vision, just working and going. And then now coaching, it's like, wow. So I guess I look back and I'm like, dang, like, like good job, like a little pat on the back, I guess. And then I think like I can't wait to continue this journey at the University of Michigan. Like, there's so much more to give to these kids every single day and to make them the best they can be and to get Michigan back at the top again. Like, so for me, it was like this pride of like, I still get to represent the University of Michigan wearing a different hat and I can influence, these young women every single day to be the best that they can be. And, I don't like yeah, for me it was just like this very uplifting, motivating moment of like I want to help our teams and future teams to get to this point that I'm at right now. And so yeah, I would say it was a feeling of pride and new beginnings. And like let's keep going and let's keep doing this in a different way.
Well, now you got the title. Everybody can refer to you as Hall of Honor, title there added there. That's pretty cool. I'm really glad you got in. I was really excited when I saw the news there. We'll take the credit since we had you on last year on your on the podcast, talked about your career. Maybe they listened. Maybe they listen. I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. You would have got it. You were going to get in eventually at some point. There. You mentioned your coaching side. Let's talk about that. I remember we had you on last year. We talked about you adjusting to coaching. You were about to enter your second year. You go 43-18 last year as a team. You win the Big Ten tournament championship. You get to a regional final. When you reflect on last year, which was year two for you, and obviously the great year for the program for the team, what do you think of from last year?
Just proud of that group. They worked so hard and they were fun to be around. And so it was from going off that first year to the second year and a lot of the same girls and seeing how much they improved and how much they played for the team. I think it was awesome. It was awesome to sit back and watch for things to start clicking for them and I'm excited for more to come.
I remember last year we spoke about transitioning, running the offense, and what you learned is from the first year. And that second year, you were expecting big improvements, and you were a prophet. Because I'm going to read some stats here that blew me away. Year last year as a team, your team hit 817, had an 817 OPS compared to 719 the year before. You had scored over 1 run average more last year than you did the year before. You scored over 300 runs last year compared to just 204 the year before. And this is the stat that jumps out to me that blew me away. You hit 63 home runs as a team last year compared to 25 the year before. That is massive improvements of massive improvement. I mean, I know you expected improvements. Did you expect that big of a jump?
No, I think it really clicked for them. I think they finally got rid of thinking so much and trying so much, and they just let go. At some point in the season, they let go. They didn't try to please anyone. They didn't try to prove anything. They just let go and they played, and they just took off. So, no, I mean, I'm not, yeah, I didn't expect it to be like that. And I'm very proud of them. And, the work is not done yet.
But I remember you told me last year you sort of sensed in that fall there was a more of a comfort level because there was, the first year you're learning them, they're learning
Yeah.
you a little bit, and it's not just you. For those that don't know, you're not exclusively running the office. You've got help from others, Faith on the staff and everything like that. But you felt that there was that comfort level. Was that a big part of that? Being comfortable. Okay, now I know what she's talking about. Did you sense that from your players?
Yeah, totally. They just started clicking. And I changed some things as from coaching too. I think that I learned a lot from my first year to the second year is we needed to spend more time on things. I think the first year I switched things up, like trying to keep it fresh when our game is boring. We got to do the same thing over and over again. And we just got to suck it up. You got to embrace the boring and learn to be great at it. So, doing that, taking more time on things like when we would do a set of rotations or drills, like we would do it for the whole week versus before I would change it every day. So we never really got great at anything. Just implementing some everyday things, I think was really huge. Like we started building more of a foundation. So I think that overall, just making some changes from the first year to the second year of consistency and consistency within reps and just kind of like clearing things up, I think was huge for them. Also, we spent a lot of time together in the office. Like we do one-on-ones in the office and talk about the mental game and watch film together. So building that one-on-one relationship really helped a lot more too. Because I mean, hitting is as much as it is physical, it's more mental than anything. So, what are your cues? What clicks for you? What are you thinking? What are you looking at? Like all those things make a huge difference. And I tried, I think my first year, I mean, I was thrown into it last minute and it was like, okay, like here, let's just do this. And, it's more individual now than it should have been the first year. But at that point, it's just like, you're trying to get an offense figured out. And I had a whole summer to then after that to reflect and what do I want to do better and all those things. And prepare. And so I think, the last couple years, it's been a little bit more individualized and, what works for each individual. And I think that was huge for them because when push came to shove last year, we were able to like keep moving up because we had that relationship and we built that trust with each other and we never really like I don't know. It was described to me one time like you're driving down the road and like sometimes you get on the bumpies and if you can kind of get back on the road, right? Or sometimes people get on the bumpies, they freak out and they just like veer off the road. And so I feel like the first year I didn't have that relationship and trust with them as much as I did the second year. And I felt like that first year we were ripping that steering wheel and we were going off the road and it took us a long time to try to get back on. Where last year we would hit bumpies and we'd get back on the road. We'd hit some bumpies and we'd get back on the road. So there was just less huge things. So I think we were just speaking more of the same language. And then this year, working with these girls for a third year and, building what we're building, it's just seeing their confidence and all of that has it's been so fun. So again, I can't wait for this year and to see them. I thought we had a great fall. They barreled up a lot of balls. But again, right, fall and season is different. What are they going to do when they go home? I think that's the biggest thing. Like, did we do a good enough job preparing them in the fall for them to own their swings so that over Christmas break, they know exactly what they're working on and they're going to get after it. So when we get back in January, we're not missing a beat. So that's how you know when you did good is when they actually learned and took ownership of their swing and can go home and work on it. So that's my goal for this fall is that they feel that when they go into Christmas break and when we come back, we're ready to go.
It sounds like there's a lot of communication between you and the players, that you're all on the same page, that communication is just as important as the actual physical drills and things you got to do. The communication being on that same page, because you mentioned it's a lot of it is mental, so sometimes you got to talk it out.
Totally. Yep. No, 100%. And I was a type of hitter. I needed someone to talk it out with. Like I always needed that person. And I had my few people that I'd always go to and talk things out with. And once you talk it out, you're like, okay. And like you can continue on. But sometimes if you don't have that person to talk it out, it takes way longer to get back to where you want to be.
You mentioned you self-evaluated yourself and determining, hey, we got to it's more of a routine than instead of changing things up. It's more about the routine and staying consistent and making some of the tweaks that you did. Was that something you always were as a player? Did you always kind of self-evaluate yourself, or was that
Oh,
just something
totally.
that came as a coach? Where does that
No,
come
no,
from?
no, no. For me as a player, I'm always like, where can I be better? Like, where are my weaknesses? Like, I mean, I think that the awareness of that is huge. And if you want growth, if you want to do things you've never done before, if you want to achieve things that are at the highest of highs, like you have to do that. You have to sit back and evaluate what went well, what didn't go well, and get feedback from others too. Like, I mean, I don't have an ego to the point where it's like, I can't take feedback. Like, give it to me. I want to hear, like, I want to be better. And, the great thing about the softball community, I have asked coaches, different people who run the offense, like so many questions. And like, let me, I want to learn, like, keep it coming. So what do you do? How do you do it? What do you think about this? Like, how do you get this accomplished? So sometimes would use all of my recruiting moments to, pick brains of different coaches. And it's just awesome. Like everyone, I mean, same thing if someone comes up to me and wants to know things that my offense, I'll give it to you. Like I think it's so great to continue to grow the game and share.
I sense in your voice you love this side of you being on the coaching side. I only bring that up because I remember you were honest last year. You said when you first got, you were brought this as an opportunity, you weren't sure. At the time you were still playing. You weren't sure if you wanted the coaching was the long term goal you wanted to do. You weren't sure, but it's Michigan, it's your alma mater. You got to, help if you can. It sounds like you've fallen in love with the craft of coaching. Is that accurate?
Totally. And honestly, like I'm in the best place to do it. The room I have to be able to do what I love is absolutely amazing. And I mean, it's like coming back home to my family and doing it with my family, It just you don't miss a beat with that. So, yeah, no, I absolutely love it. I love figuring it out in a way. I love figuring out how to explain something in like five different ways because not everyone learns in the same way. So it's like, how can I get them to understand? And it's like, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Here's one option. Here's another option. What option works for you? And I don't know. Yeah, and I love working with the girls. Like it's just if I have to work for the rest of my life, like I'll do this any day, right? Like it's awesome. And so yeah, I do love it.
Describe the feelings winning that Big Ten championship at Iowa, beating Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, and winning that title as a coach. What was those feelings like?
It was awesome just for the girls to feel it. That group had never won a championship at Michigan. So it was like, this is what it feels like. Like, I mean, I was fortunate enough. I won four at Big Ten champion. Like, I won four when I was a player there. Like, it was it's like and so for them to feel that and know what that feels like they know what it takes and that's huge and we needed them to feel that and it was a grind. It wasn't, I mean, we had some nice games but we had some grind games where defense kept us in the game, pitching kept us in the game, and we just grinded out those at bats. Like it wasn't always pretty, but that group never gave up, and that is why they got as far as they did because they never gave in. And I mean, if there's an out left on the table, like there's still a chance in the game, and they really took to that.
What does it mean for Coach Toll there, for Bonnie there, to win that Big Ten title as the head coach? Because you're following a legend in Coach
Yeah.
Hutch, and listen, you've been in the program, you downplay it, but there's the expectations. She knows the expectations as well as anybody there. To win that Big Ten title as a head coach, had to mean a lot to her. What's it been like seeing her evolve as a head coach?
It's been awesome. I mean, you could just see the growth in her every single day. And it's been fun. It's been fun, being behind her and supporting her every step of the way. And I mean, there's more in her. So it's going to be great to, continue to watch her shine and lead and take on that role. And yeah, no, from season one to season three, like definitely so much growth. So it's really fun to see.
You return a lot from last year's team. What did
Mhm.
you want as a coaching staff, those returners especially, to take from that experience? Not just winning the Big Ten title, but then getting to that regional final in a really stacked regional in Stillwater, and that getting that experience back in the postseason after missing it the year before. But what did you want them to take from that experience to carry over to this year?
Yeah, like when you put in that work and when you work as a team and you play the game the right way, like you can do it. And you just got to show up every single day, play one pitch at a time, be present. And that it is possible, like that this group is good enough. Like I think that sometimes there was a little bit of doubt in their confidence that we can't really hang with the big dogs. Like, are you kidding me? Like you guys are a part of that and you have to be that and know that. So I think them getting that experience gives them that belief inside that, like, yeah, we can be up here and we will be up here and we're going to, show up and beat those, those other teams. And I don't want to say bigger teams because we're right up there with them. So it's like that's the mindset. It's just another team, and we're gonna go out there and we're gonna play Michigan softball, and everything will take care of itself. It's not about who we're playing. It's about representing Michigan and playing our best.
It helps when you have a great pitcher like Lauren Dukowski. She was the Big Ten tournament outstanding player. Was fantastic there. Had a great year last year. Comes back this year to lead the pitching staff. What makes her such a great pitcher?
She's a competitor. I mean, she just goes up there. She may not have her best stuff one day, but she's going to compete. You can always count her fighting. And I think that's what's so great about her and why, the team respects her so much and will play their absolute best behind her because she is going to fight till the end, and will pitch as much as she needs to for the team.
You mentioned too that one of the reasons you felt your offense would be better, you faced good pitching in practice, like Lauren and others.
Yeah. Yeah.
This fall, how does it look facing that pitching staff?
I mean, they're tough, right? Every day we go out there and face them live, it's tough, but it is making both sides better because I know that, we gave them more of a run for their money this year and than we have in the past. And that's exciting. It's exciting on both sides that we're both pushing each other. And so I can't wait to get back scrimmaging again in January and just get after it with them. And again, right? Like let in those competitive juices and just battle against each other and just knowing like, oh, like, Dirk's changed. They can't stand it, but it's like, we all know it's making us better as hitters and, it's a friendly, fun competition of getting after it at practice. And yeah, I like when they get that little back and forth. We did a little Wolverines Unlimited and that was really fun to see them all compete against each other and really get into it. So I think that's just going to be great for us in the end, and we got to continue it.
Do you get involved as a coach there? Do you kind of say, hey, listen, don't let them strike you out like that? Like, do you get involved there? Add
Oh
on
yeah,
there?
I'm like, come on, like, don't let, like, no, no, like, we're not caving into, oh, but her change up. No, beat it. Like, let's go, buck up. Like, come on.
That's really great. I want to ask you about some of your offensive leaders. Matty Erickson, who kind of exploded 352 last year, 12 homers, 48 RBIs. Describe Erickson and her impact on the team.
She's had so much growth. It has been so awesome to see, what she did from her freshman year to her sophomore year over the summer. Just really I mean, taking complete ownership in all aspects. And I know the mental game was huge for her of, she's reached out to different mentors to help her in her mental game. And for her to take that ownership on for herself to be better in all aspects, I mean, that's all you can ask for. And that's what makes someone great is when they take ownership of their own success and their own life. And she's done that. So I can't wait for her this year and continue to lift her up and continue to encourage her and push her, right? Like there's more in you. Like for me, like there's more home runs in her, and I push her every day to hit the ball out in front more. It's uncomfortable feeling, but you are so strong. I want more doubles and more home runs from you. So constantly, just pushing that just a little bit more for her to keep expanding herself to be better and better.
As a coach, how do you find out about a player saying, "Hey, you know what? I think this player can give us more power than she even realizes." How do you identify that as a coach?
They're strong. I mean, you can see it. I don't. For me,
You
it's
can see it.
obvious.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's super obvious. I mean, what she's doing with where she's making contact. I mean, it's just like, I mean, it's amazing that she can do what she does with letting the ball travel as much as she does. So if we can just move her out in front a little bit, she's going to be able to mash. So I just need her to believe that a little bit more.
Who are the leaders on this group?
Well,
Is that still evolving?
it's still evolving and it will be announced here in probably the next couple weeks. So
Oh,
I'll leave everyone waiting for that announcement.
look at you, top secret. I like that. Breaking that down. Very well done. Well played on that. You've had 7 freshmen coming to this roster, as well as a transfer. Describe the new blood, if you will, the new faces on this team's roster.
I think what this team this year that is so cool to watch is their one love for each other, but also the competitiveness within each other of like it's been really cool to see the returners come back and do so well in the fall, which it was like sink or swim for the freshmen, like either keep up or like go way away, right? And they're swimming, like they're competing, and it's just elevating the team all around, which is so cool to see. So that's been exciting. I mean, the freshmen just jump right in there with everyone, and they're keeping up, and they're gonna. I'm excited for that group. They're a great group. And they're going to help our team tremendously. And it's going to be, which is cool to say, but it's going to be tough to crack that nine in the lineup. We have a lot of hitters that can hit and they're competing, and we'll see how it all plays out in game time.
Deepest lineup since you've been there?
Yes, by far.
Most athletic?
Yes, by far, for sure. Like it is cool to see.
Let's talk about the Big Ten. It's a new look Big Ten. How strange is it to see you're going to see UCLA? You're going to host UCLA. You're going to play Oregon on the road. You got Washington now in the Big Ten. What's that like now in the new look Big Ten?
I'm here for it. Like it just levels everything up. Like let us have more postseason competition every single game that we play. I think that's huge. So I'm ready for it. And I think, yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great for the sport. And I'm excited, for us all to compete.
I would imagine when Michigan and UCLA play, when you guys play this upcoming year, that's going to be around the 20-year anniversary of that '05 Champ Series that Coach Hutch and Michigan won. I would imagine that gets brought up. That's going to be pretty cool to see Michigan and UCLA on the same field. I mean, that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. It's gonna be awesome.
What you look at the overall schedule you announced recently. You start the year in Tampa. That's kind of become the tradition over there. You're going to play in Tampa actually a couple times during this season. You're going to play up in the Carolinas. Describe kind of the preparation for the conference season. You're going to go to some familiar places you've coached and played before, but yet you get to learn about your team once you get going in the season.
Yeah, I think it's all great, right? Like it's like the whole preseason is like, a little bit of spring training in a sense, and just kind of, people will be moving around. They're going to be competing, and it takes time for the team to kind of like settle in and evolve on what it's actually going to be once we start Big Ten. So that's exciting for everyone to seeing everyone fight for their spots and moving in and out of the lineup just to kind of like morph like what will be that starting nine. So yeah, no, I mean, I love it. I love that time of the year. I love, what it creates. Like, okay, what do we need to work on? Like, okay, like this is what we need to focus on this week. And like, let's just keep getting better and better and better and better.
This will be my last question. What is the one or two things you're intrigued to find out about this group? Because you've mentioned it about working, the work starts when you're, beyond, once the fall starts, when you're going back home. What
Yeah.
are a couple things you're looking forward to finding out about this group that you are curious to find out here in the next, before the season starts in February?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want to see how quickly they can adjust. Like when they are struggling against a pitcher, how quickly can we adjust within the lineup? like I would love for it not to take a whole lineup through to make the adjustment the next time. Like, how can we learn from the hitters in front of us and make those adjustments quick? And then, competing, like those games that are going to be a grinding game. Like, how do we as hitters just go up there and grind that out and just be gritty and compete and pull something through? So I mean, that's what I'm excited to see is like just the mental side of their competitiveness coming out every single game and how quickly they can adjust when it's not as easy as maybe they anticipated it being.
Yeah, that'll be exciting to find. He'll start the season in Tampa in February. That's then. In the meantime, hey, enjoy the rest of the fall and winter until then. And once again, congrats of them getting inducted to the Hall of Honor. I know that's not easy. There's a lot of great athletes at Michigan that are not in the Hall of Honor, so that's a special honor, and you certainly deserve it. So congratulations once again on doing that, and thanks for coming on the podcast once again and talking to us as always here on In the Circle on D1 Softball.
Thank you. Go Blue.